You got
Oh,
dog
it's
treats.
Clover.
It's Clover?
Yeah,
It is
yeah, she's
Clover.
behind you. Yeah, I have a whole bag of them just ready to go. For the Halloween ones I got for the zero dogs that showed up.
Amazing. In theory, Keegan, we are live right now. In
Woo!
theory, people can hear us. Although, I need somebody in chat to confirm that you can hear both of us.
Okay, I'm just gonna talk and see if I can hear me. Okay, cool.
Josh has confirmed that we are in fact live, so that's good.
Yep, and I can hear myself, which is less than ideal. So now I'm gonna close the window.
Okay.
Okay.
Looks like we
There's
might have
nothing.
pulled this off.
Yeah, look at us go. We know what we're doing.
I am very quiet since
You just have to yell. That's what we're hearing.
I'm here to yell. I'm here to yell. Okay. Cool. Excellent. We're here. We're live. Welcome to the first coffee break. Coffee break is a thing that I wanted to do to talk to my cool friends who are game designers. When I realized that Discord was just way too much for me. I tried joining a bunch of Discords and I was like, nope, can't do this, can't keep up with it. So I could barely keep up with my own, but I like talking with people. So I wanted to just spend my Sunday mornings drinking coffee, enjoying this. Well, my coffee this morning is not very good, but enjoying the coffee in theory, but enjoying the company. I'm here today for the very first coffee break with none other than Keegan. Keegan, can you just
Hello.
introduce yourself for folks?
Yeah, I'm Kegan. I do indie game design. You can find me at keganexe.com or basically anywhere on the internet at keganexe.
Nice, 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 nice. What are you drinking, Keegan?
I'm drinking an iced coffee from Trader Joe's with way too much cream in it. It tastes like milk. It's great.
Right before we started, you said that you get like you buy your you buy concentrate in like gallons.
Yeah.
Do you get it from
Just
Trader
buy
Joe's?
yeah, I buy whatever the biggest one they have is, or I buy Chameleon coffee because it's what the organic food place down the street from where I work has.
Maybe I should do that because I go to Trader Joe's for groceries and I never thought about buying concentrate. I have the most complicated way of making cold brew and it's worth it, but it takes literally 8 hours to make that I have to watch it throughout the day. It's a Kyoto dripper. It's very
Mm-mm,
cool, but it's
not a
like
chance.
I have to babysit it all day.
I if I have to spend more than like 2 minutes making coffee, it's not worth
It's
it. I'll
not
just
worth it.
drink water.
Pass. Big old pass. Excellent. Well, how's your Sunday going so far? I know it's early.
I literally just woke up.
Perfect.
I'm good though.
Excellent. I hope everybody else is having a good Sunday or whatever day or time it is for you because daylight savings time just hit here, so I don't understand time anymore. Like
Yeah, I was very confused when Joe was like, "Yeah, the clocks are moving." Yesterday, I was like, "Okay, cool. If my alarm wakes me up, I don't care."
just the phrase "the clocks are moving" is a very like I get horror vibes from that. Like out of context, just like the clocks are moving. You're like, oh, that's unsettling.
What we should do instead is draft a horror game around that right now.
We should. That's the name of the game. The clocks are moving. We could learn from like Ark and other games that use like real time as
hmm
their main component. Sweet. Sweet. Well, I mean, I'm down to talk about the clocks are moving, but I'm also, normally with this, I don't like have like a plan of something to talk about, but there is something that you and I have been meaning to talk about, which would be interesting, which is the
Yeah,
concept of West Marches.
yeah, I'm down. Let's do it.
Because like I've got your book right here, In Extremis.
Woo!
It's very
That's
good.
nice. I don't even have my book right here.
I keep all the books that I constantly reference on stream just right here because I got tired of getting up out of my seat and going to find them. So I've got In Extremis and Gun and Slinger and things like that right here.
Nice.
Josh likes the idea, killer title idea for a horror game. The clocks are moving.
Yeah, we'll have to come back. We'll have to circle back around to
Yeah,
it.
that's definitely we're putting a pin in that and coming back. I love that
Yeah,
idea.
one sec. I'm writing it right
Oh,
here.
good, because I will forget it 10 seconds from now.
Yeah, so I keep a whiteboard next to me every time I stream, so I can just jot things down real fast.
That is
The
so
closest I am to
smart.
prepared. It's a character sheet when I'm playing a game. Otherwise, it's just notes.
That is very clever. I do not do that at all. I should definitely keep something handy. Clever.
It's been really helpful. I did it fully on accident the first time. I just had it next to me, and I was like, "Oh, this is great." It stays with my laptop now.
Nice. Well, before we jump into West Marches, I'm just curious, like, what are you working on these days? What have you been
Oh,
up to?
yeah, I'm working on Dungeon Delvers TV, my like OSR light dungeon delving game. It should be coming out in 7 days, which is asking
Oh,
a lot from
be
me right now.
that's right, 'cause you have you have all like a week planned, right?
Yeah, I have a week, so I'm setting my itch. So every time there's been a creators weekend, I've been like, I'm not competing with everyone for this. I don't
Mm,
think it's good for me. I don't think it's great for everyone else. So I normally set my prices like I just double on them. I'm like, go buy from someone else. They need it more than me. um,
nice.
so this week, or that week, starting on the 14th, I'm setting my itches cut to zero, like they usually do during a creators week, and I'm just running sales and stuff at a time when I don't have to compete with everyone. So it's like bootleg creators week. But yeah, I'm dropping Dungeon Delvers. I might be dropping the new In Extremis supplement if I finish it on time, which is again asking a lot because I'm not done with Dungeon Delvers. And I have a bunch of sales going on. I have a bunch of flash sales going on. I'm doing, I think, 3 streams that week. And it's my birthday that week. So
Dang. Dang, you're
yeah,
busy.
I've been planning this like in the background for months.
Are these like TPK streams or
We're doing Dungeon Delvers is good. The first time we play, it's going to be on Top Shelf, or not Top Shelf. It's going to be on Plus One EXP is getting like the launch of it again, and then at the end of the week, I'm doing it on TPK.
nice? Very cool. Very exciting. That is a very
Yeah,
busy week.
it's a very busy week, and it's also my birthday.
Yeah, I was about to
And
say,
in my head, I was like, this will encourage people to buy things because I can be like, it's my birthday, buy my things. But
mm,
also, then I've planned my entire birthday week out as just doing work, and I'm sort of regretting that decision now, but we're too close to turn around.
right, the ad copy's out there. The promo image is out there. People have seen it.
Yeah, and I'm like, we've already scheduled Top Shelf is on my birthday.
Mm.
It's also the season finale of Top Shelf,
Oh,
which is
nice.
nice. So it should be a big, exciting day. But yeah, truly just so much going on right now.
Yeah, okay, okay. I remember last time I was looking at the Dungeon Delvers stuff that you were messing around with like overlay, or not overlay, but like layout, and I think you were trying to mess with it to make it look like a Twitch overlay. Last time I think I saw something. Are you still doing
Yes.
that?
Oh yeah, I'm still doing it. It's kind of soul sucking. It's why I haven't gotten it done. But I have the Twitch partner guideline they give to brands and companies that are going to work with Twitch. That's like if you're making something alongside Twitch, these are the fonts you use. These are what things should look like. We like like 2 column layouts, not 3 or 1 column layouts. The fonts need to be between these sizes. Like
Okay.
they have a whole like really nice brand guideline that you could just find online. It's just a PDF. So I've been laying it out according to that, so it looks very much like Twitch. Um, but oh my God, come to find out, I just really hate corporate layout.
I was thinking like that. I mean, that's nice to have the guidance and things like that, but I guess also, do you find it like restricting at the same time? Like, is there like points where you're like, oh, I just really want to play with this, and then, but it would be counter to.
Luckily, Twitch's is already fairly playful. Like they have a lot of like, oh, like repeat the same giant text 40 times on this page. And it's like, okay, cool. So I can do some like cool typographic stuff with it. It also really cuts down on the need for illustrations, which is nice because it's cheaper. um, but I don't know. I haven't gotten back to it in a few weeks, so I might just be in a better headspace now. I think last time I was messing with it, I still like was in the middle of getting a tooth removed and stuff. So I had some extenuating circumstances last time I opened it.
The phrase pulling teeth for a task that you don't want to do is like literally applied to the situation then.
Yeah, last month I went to the dentist 5 times, I think.
Holy fuck.
Um, yeah, I had an emergency visit to get a tooth removed because it had like shattered, and then my dog had to go to an emergency vet. My cat had to go to an emergency vet last month. So I don't know if it was actually as bad as it was in my head or if I just needed to not be working.
I see. I see. That makes sense. Wow. Okay. Well, you got a busy week coming up. What's the week again? Like, what's the exact date range that is all happening?
That's a great question. I think it's the 14th through the 21st. Yes, it's the 14th through the 21st. I didn't just check my Twitter to know that.
No, that just manifested in your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Excellent. Awesome. Kegan.exe and the no good, very bad week.
It was really a no good, very bad month.
Yeah, that sounds rough. That's a very spooky October you've had.
It really was.
Um, Speaking of spooky,
There you go.
you made a spooky game. Oh, I'm so good at this. I'm so good
hmm
at this. Uh,
Yeah, I love this.
you made a spooky game. You made In Extremis. I love In Extremis. I was lucky enough to play it on stream with you. Um,
hmm
and I know you run like a regular game on your Discord, right?
On my Discord. Yeah, we skipped it for October for reasons previously discussed, but we're getting back into it this month after Extreme Weekend.
An In Extremis weekend for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
So I want to know like how you set this up because I mentioned like the idea of doing something with Nova as like a West Marches thing because I have a similar idea of doing something like that with Light eventually. I remember mentioning that and you going, "Hey, I do that,"
yeah.
and we should talk
So
about it.
the the in extremis West marches are set up off the first supplement. So not what's in the book, but little one to go with it.
Mhm.
And as players going from planet to planet, rescuing like different survivors of this sort of like intergalactic war. Maybe we should explain in extremis before I get too far into this, just in
No, I love
case.
the just really making it abstract for people who don't know. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
I guess so.
yeah, in extremis, you're necromancers, you're in space. There's been this big intergalactic war that's wiped out the other planets and has is approaching your direction. You all are sort of like the last holdout. And everyone else in the galaxy is basically assumed to be dead at this point. And that's the real Cliff Notes version of this. But yeah, so you're playing the West Marches sets. All of the people are on a ship together in our group. I don't remember what the ship's named. It doesn't matter anymore. But you're all on a big ship together, and you're going from place to place, sort of like rescuing people off the planets. And as you rescue people, they give you more missions. They give you more information about other missions you might go on. But just the way it's set up is each week we play it. There's a bounty board with 3 bounties on it. 2 of them will be returning from the previous week, and then a new one. But each of them also has a like invisible time element to it. So
Uh,
when they first show up, I roll a d6. That's how many weeks they will stay on the board. So if you don't get to the people fast enough, those missions just disappear. You're never able to rescue people, which locks you out of later content and stuff. Um, Whereas if you do rescue them, every person you rescue later has a secondary mission attached to them, and then there's like a big final wrap up mission for like the end of the campaign. That's all sort of set up for it.
And in this, so like this, because I'm really curious about the structure that you like put together for this. Is the structure all existing in the supplement? So like, if somebody wanted to run the like a campaign like this, like if they just picked up the supplement, would that give them the tools that you use, or have you kind of crafted new tools for this?
So I have all of the missions and I have the basic setup of it, but I did not include the only thing I haven't included is that I do the time gated bit of it.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, otherwise those are all the first in extremis supplement is just like hey, here's the 8 people you can rescue and the 16 missions attached to them, and then like a final mission at the end that has like specific things different NPCs know about the location and what you're doing and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Cool. So your West Marches sort of thing is working off of a campaign that has a end game to it, right? Like a goal of
hmm
some sorts. And I think you and I briefly talked about this, and I've kind of after hearing that, thinking like, yeah, that makes sense. Because what oftentimes I find happens with like sandbox games or like West March style games is if there's no rails, it just
hmm
dies out eventually. It's just like you're just kind of it's like the monster of the week sort of thing. You're showing up, you're doing the thing, but then like eventually People just stop getting interested in doing it because they're not seeing anything happen as a result of it. So
Yeah, that was always sort of the goal with this, was that there's an end goal. It's not like you've saved the galaxy, it's that you've rescued the necessary people and you've opened, there's this like ancient temple that opens up just sort of randomly. And as you get in there with all these people, you can sort of like discover why they're in your galaxy finally.
mm,
A big thing about In Extremis is that no one knows why the Corvus is attacking. They've just showed up. They haven't communicated at all. They've just started wiping people out. Um, and it's sort of, you get to the end of it, it's like, okay, cool, we have better intel on them now. And we're just ending there. It leaves it open where if I wanted to, set a second set of missions after it, it could be fine too still. You're not solving all the issues in the galaxy, but like it has a definite end point I'm working towards at least.
yeah. Those damn Corvus, they showed up, huh? They showed up and they started messing around with everything.
Yeah, I don't know if you know about them.
They sound familiar. They sound familiar. I love that our games are all inherently connected to each other now because of this.
I love that the Corvus were supposed to be a placeholder because I was like, I can't think of an enemy name. And then I just started writing around them and I was like, there's no reason to move it now.
I
And
get,
now, like, every Lumen game has a Corvus.
yep. Every Lumen game has a crow of some kind, and
Hmm.
ours specifically have this group, the Corvus Dominion, who are just like they're just these space bullies who keep showing up and just fucking around, which is very funny to me.
Yeah.
So you play like so I'm curious when you do like your stuff, do you do it where it's like an open call sort of thing where you just say like who wants to play this week and or like and then it's just like people sign up for it or do you have like a core group and it's kind of like a campaign of the same people and they're just kind of choosing the missions? Like I'm curious, do you do the rotating cast thing?
We tried to do the rotating cast thing. Functionally, my Discord's fairly small, so there's the possible cast of rotating people is fairly small. I think it's like 12 people signed up overall for it.
Mm,
It's been two of the same people every week, and then occasionally I'll get another person or two in it.
yeah.
Um, but like, yeah, it's designed to be a rotating cast of people, and that's sort of the nice thing that hey, you're on a ship with everybody who has signed up for the Westmarch is on this ship. You're just the only two being sent on this mission, or you're the only like four. So if it rotates, it makes sense. If it doesn't, they just didn't need that person that day. So it's still, like everyone's there, everyone knows what's going on still, but they just, didn't happen to come help.
I dig that. I like that a lot. I have like grand plans for something that's way more complicated with the West Marches thing, which like of course I should not start with my grand plan. I should build up to it, but I'm impatient and want to do something very big right away. Like I love the idea of like the time gated missions that disappear. Like I like that tech from like Blades or Band of Blades where you get three missions, you choose one that you're gonna actually do, one that you just roll an engagement roll on, and then the third you just fail. So you all have to
Okay.
decide like one of these we lose this opportunity. The other one we have the most agency over whether or not we succeed because we're gonna actually play it out. And the other one we're leaving just to a roll of the dice,
Yeah, that's nice.
which is kind of cool tech. I dig that. And that's also like it's a troop style thing because your characters are dying constantly, but it is on rails, so it's all about getting to that fortress at the end.
Mhm.
So I want to just tell you briefly what I'm interested in doing, and you can tell me whether or not this is a bad idea or what if you have any initial thoughts about it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a bad idea, I'm gonna love it. So
Perfect.
I'm the wrong person here to talk you out of doing something.
I want to do West Marches, so I'll talk about the Nova version. Although
Mhm.
the light version is interesting too. They're kind of different. Uh,
Okay.
the Nova version is you have a hub city. You're all going to build that city together, and then it's whatever sparks are available for that week are the sparks that are available. Same sort of idea that you were describing, like a list of bounties that are available, like a list of jobs for the sparks to take on. Not going to answer that right now. Sorry about that. Um, a sort of like hex map to represent the city and like the surrounding dusk around it, like getting more and more dangerous. And it's centered around the theme of hunting down these lunar shards. So you got sun shards out on the Earth. There's lunar shards
Right.
out there. They're fucked up. You want to destroy these things. Or you want to harvest them, bring them back home because there's like a base building element to the game too. So like the game is centered around like this idea of going on missions, choosing which missions you want to do because the missions provide like resources or assets or something like that or intel that you gather for your base building stuff. So you're like macro, there's like two levels of play, kind of like in Blades, where it's like the job and then there's the downtime. But for me, it's like tiers of play. So there's like the micro level, which is the sparks on the mission. And then there's
Hmm.
the macro, which is now you play as not the sparks anymore, but like the factions of the city. And you are making like bigger decisions about what to do with like the limited fuel we have from the Sunwell. And like you all have agendas and stuff like that. This is all inspired by what I really want to do. Like with like light, I want to do the same idea, but at the solar system level, and then the factions are run by other people, like even the enemy factions, and they're all deciding where like the Corvus are moving or where the Ruin are moving, like to which planets. And then like there's like a weekly faction turn. You see how that's going on, and then the like then you have the weekly game that deals with the updated map, and the sparks or the beacons do a thing, and that updates the map. You go do the weekly faction thing, and you rotate it like that. So I want to get like a Westmarches thing that is, yes, the individual group that is like out on the mission, like decides that stuff, but there's also
Yeah.
like the background, like we've got like channels in Discord for the factions that you only have access to your faction stuff, and you all are scheming and talking about the shit that you want to do.
That's really cool. It would require, and this isn't me saying don't do this, it would require a lot of people to pull off like cool faction stuff.
Right.
Yeah, this Discord has marches in it.
Nice. Admittedly,
Um,
this is not like a unique idea. I've seen somebody else do it. Um, that person is a shitty person, and I don't want to talk about them.
yeah,
But,
yeah, very fair. You'll have
but
to tell me who it is later because now I'm
yeah.
wondering.
Uh,
But
but I have seen it successfully pulled off in a cool way before, and so I want to just steal from this person and be like, well, I'm not a shitty person, so I'm gonna do this now.
yeah, you should. We should just find cool things shitty people did and reclaim them. I'm for
Right.
that.
So, someone asked, like, what are the faction mechanics are like? And so the faction mechanics from the thing that I saw, and so this is the thing, I would have to create these mechanics, but the faction
Mhm.
mechanics are borrowed from Stars Without Number. So
Okay.
Stars Without Number is all about having like a randomly generated like galactic sector and the factions and everything. Oh, I didn't recognize your name. I'm so bad. I'm so bad at recognizing. Like, I have to put you on my cheat sheet right now because I have my cheat sheet of Twitch
Oh, I love
names.
that you still have that.
Oh yeah, I had to update it last night because I was talking. Somebody was talking, had great ideas, and I was like, I feel like I know you by another name. uh, so Stars Without Number has this like faction style thing built into it that the GM does all on their own. Uh, so like you have the galactic sector and the maps and the factions that you've built, and much like in Blades or anything where there's like kind of clocks running in the background with agendas, you are moving around these factions. And like Stars Without Number has like actual rules for like money that you generate, and you like buy actual units that move around on a galactic map sort of thing.
Oh,
Um,
that's so cool.
it's very cool. And so I stole that and I did it in my Dungeon World campaign with players years and years and years ago. And it was very fun. Everybody chose a faction that was totally unrelated to the party, and they got to see the map change based off of this stuff. Now, I don't think I want to use the same rules because they're so different than how Nova and Light work.
Yeah.
But maybe that's okay, right? Like maybe
I feel like Nova and Light are both like rules light enough that doing something like really heavy with the factions would almost feel like antithetical to the design of the game.
hmm,
Um, which is to say there's probably like really cool way to like resolve this in one secret role per faction
Yeah.
at the end of the week.
I,
There's almost like a I feel like you could almost steal a page out of a apocalypse world style,
mm,
like levels of a success, or like choose a number of things that are true about the thing you're trying to do. Like, there's no blowback. You're able to do it quickly. You don't lose many units, sort of thing.
right. Like,
Where it would still enable a lot of faction play, and people could still have a lot of say over what they did, but it would also be resolved without a million mechanics.
right. That's what I'm kind of thinking. So like, it would be cool. Like, like the factions in the city are fine, but I think ultimately like they aren't at like war with one another. Like they want
Mhm.
relatively the same thing, which is to survive because the world sucks. But
Yeah,
like it would be cool, I think, to have like a faction that is sort of like city, and then like the enemy factions from Nova or the enemy factions from Light,
right.
right? That are
Hmm.
moving around. So like a small group of people are just responsible for the lunar cultists and the scheming that they are doing between missions and stuff like that. And another group is responsible for some sort of
A future war cult, and they're yeah.
exactly, right? Some sort of like macro level scheming going on. Some sort of puppet mastery, but they're all trying to pull the same string, so it doesn't work, right? Like
Mhm. Everyone's trying to pull the same strings, and they all have slightly different approaches to it. And yeah, it's a really interesting concept for like giving players control of that bit.
it to me honestly, like in my head it makes it's easier for me to oh, Brandon's here. Excellent.
Yeah.
Um it's easier to imagine this in my head with Light because Light has like the distinct city factions, but it has the distinct enemy factions and it has an existing map of sorts with like the solar system. With
Hmm.
Nova, if I wanted to do this, I would need to like make like an abstracted hex map and be like, so here's like the city that you're all building and like the rough idea of territories around it. It's not like it's undoable, but like Light is already divided up so cleanly like that that it just makes more sense. Which probably like, within Extremis, you've got the different celestial bodies that people are moving around.
Yeah, that's the good thing. Amusingly, the same person did both the light and in extremis maps. In V did both of
Yeah, MV
them.
did both.
But yeah, no, there could be a really interesting thing with like sort of like planetary hex map for something like Nova, where players are competing over specific hexes, maybe with like even different resources within them. Like
Yeah,
give people some sort of extra reason to actually want the things they want.
I think that's the tricky thing, right? Like or that's the thing that you need to do with Nova is to make like incentive for the factions to try and move around this territory in the first place. So that's partially why I want to do like the lunar shard thing because like the lunar shards are an asset that like everybody covets because they are some sort of powerful source of magic
Yeah,
fuckery. Um, such that even if you were the faction that's in charge of the haze dwellers, which are like the beasts and the monsters, like they still want that stuff too. So like um you have like an incentive. So I like this idea of like resources or something like that that are each territory has something that it provides or something like that that you want to hold it because it gives you some benefit during the faction turns that moves you closer to your faction's goals.
yeah. No, that's really good.
It's but like it's all very nebulous. It's all very like abstracted out. And I got to figure out like what is interesting, what's most interesting, what should translate to the page, and then like I don't know. I haven't figured any of
Yeah,
that
I
out.
love that early idea about like the Discord with the different channels and having to actually join a faction and only seeing like what's happening in your faction. That's very good. Competing over the resources is very good. It's just like actually making all of that a mechanic.
Right, exactly. Like what are the actual gears that make all of that turn in a way that exactly like you said is not like antithetical to the
The
vibe
design of
of
the rules light game.
right, which are both these like get in there, get into the action sort of thing. Like you have three attributes that describe the way you do things. Like maybe that makes sense as a thing to translate to the factions. Like attributes by
Yeah,
which the
actually,
factions try to accomplish their goals through force, through
through cunning, through
cunning,
yeah.
and then like through like I don't know, like negotiate, like through like diplomacy or something like that.
Hmm.
Like maybe that's an interesting way of doing it is to just make a Lumen faction turn game that or Lumen faction turn tech that can then get translated to both of these games.
This is gonna sound like just a wild pull here real fast,
Yes.
but Unplaytested did a game on their podcast. Bring Me the Head of the Earthling. Sigourney Weaver was the name of the game. And it's all about your aliens who come to the planet Earth to like, extract some resource or do some sort of evil, and you're stopped by Sigourney Weaver. It's like a play to lose game, but there's this whole thing in it with like choosing multiple like adjectives that describe your alien race. So, they're like greedy. So, it sort of colors both the sort of resources they want, how they're willing to get them, like this list of adjectives. And I wish I had it on this computer so I could pull it up. But there's some like I've played the game easily 4 times now. And there's
All right.
some like good stuff in there that I could see sort of expanding on, but it does the whole multi-factions turn thing really well because as the game goes on, the aliens die off and you become Earth celebrities instead. So, the first person who dies becomes Sigourney Weaver, and they have all of the abilities Sigourney Weaver's had from any movie she's been in. And
Naturally.
then that happens, yeah, as anyone else dies, the next person chooses to be like LeVar Burton, and they know everything LeVar Burton knew. In
Holy
any movie he's
shit.
ever been in. It's such a fun game. I'm always telling people about it, but it legitimately does some interesting things with just like creating the like alien force and determining like the sorts of resources they want, how they get them. And it has like a really interesting dice system, and I'm struggling to remember it offhand, but it's essentially like you're rolling a number of d6s, and sixes are successes, and like, like different number ranges mean different things for it. And they can affect your specific faction of aliens within it different ways and stuff like that. And it's both rules light and flexible enough that I'm thinking about it now, like, this could actually work really well as a faction mechanic.
Yeah. Okay. Is it do they post their stuff up on itch? I think they do, right? Like it all goes
Yes,
up
they
to itch,
do.
right? So,
Yeah, I'll find it and post it in the chat here in a
yeah.
second.
Hunt down that link because I definitely want to check that out. That sounds interesting.
It's also just a wildly good game that more people need to pay attention to. I think I'm the only one who's ever played it. Or like the only group who's ever played it,
Right.
not for their specific stream.
Right. That sounds awesome. I want to check that out. So yeah, I want to do this West Marches thing. I have to figure out what to do about it. Obviously, I'm a little all over the place with the oh, you sent me the link.
Oh, yeah, I was on my phone. It just hit me that I couldn't send it from my phone to the Twitch chat, so I sent it to Discord so I could send it to Twitch.
Oh, perfect. Excellent.
Real
The
3D chess maneuvers
the
here.
the way we do technology. Um yeah, I'm excited to like tinker with this. I think what I've always found is these ideas live in my head and then they don't manifest in any interesting way until I actually start talking out loud about them. So like just literally sitting here talking out loud with you has helped a bunch in terms of making some of this stuff manifest. West
Yeah,
Marches in a faction module sounds like really great supplements. Yeah. Yeah, right? Doesn't it sound like a cool thing to add to your game? I mean, Kegan has nailed it already. What's the name of the In Extremis supplement? Let me put that link in chat.
um, I renamed it before I put it out, and
Perfect.
now I never remember the name of it. Um, which is
Season of
real great for,
Discovery.
yeah, there we go.
I'm gonna put it in chat
I
here.
use the Destiny style season of adjective.
Right. Perfect. Yeah,
I
I agree.
The
Those are cool.
specific touch point on that one was Mass Effect 3 does like a weird, has like the planetary readiness thing where you're taking on missions, and a bunch of them are weirdly time gated and the game just doesn't tell you.
Right, 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 right.
And that sort of changes what the final approach to the end of the game looks like. But like it does the same sort of thing I was trying to emulate there. So I think it's very funny that I did it, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, like Band of Blades," like, "Oh, huh, yeah, like the game I've
Yes,
definitely read that
it's
everyone loves so much."
definitely like that. The number of times I reference Band of Blades whenever I'm designing stuff is ridiculous. I know Jeremy Gage loves Band of Blades a lot too. Jeremy and I
Yeah, I was just
always
saying,
talk
you and
about it.
Jeremy are always talking about Band of Blades, and I'm always like, "Damn, I should read it. I'll definitely read it." It's up there with Blades in the Dark, where it's like a game I know I should have read by now.
Oh, you haven't read Blades either?
I've never read Blades. I've never read Band of Brothers. I've barely read Apocalypse World. I just like don't read a bunch of
That's fine.
foundational RPG text.
That's fine. You don't need to read any of it. I barely read Apocalypse World 2. I like 2 as in as well. Also Apocalypse
Mhm.
World 2.
Is
Or
that a thing?
second they made like a second edition.
Oh yeah, yeah, the one that I forgot what it's called. But yeah, no, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very funny to have not read a bunch of things because everyone's always like, "Oh, Fanta uses like the same dice system that like Apocalypse World uses," and I'm like, "It does."
I think you mean Apocalypse World uses Fanta's system. I've never heard of it.
I've played Dungeon World once 4 years ago. Like it's fine.
There you go.
I know the design well enough, I think.
Once you get one, you're good. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so this West Marches thing I think makes a little more sense in my head, having spoken to you about it. I dig this. I dig this.
Yeah, this is a cool idea.
Now, like, here's what'll happen. This will either be something that I like fever dream write in a weekend, or you won't hear from me about this for like 3 months, and then I'll be like, and now I'm finally doing this thing.
Oh, that's so much better than me because I'll talk about something endlessly and then just never do it. I, the number of games where I've started them and been like, yeah, I'm really into this design, I'm doing the stuff I love, and then just been like, it's never going to
Yeah.
materialize.
Oh, Dan, that's a really. I mean, I agree, Dan, that Band of Blades is like. I think it's too heavy for running it as written. I think there's really cool, interesting tech, but just like Blades in the Dark, there's like you can slim that shit down. You can slice, and like I just started playing what is probably my fifth Blades in the Dark campaign now, a couple weeks ago, with a friend of mine who's played it multiple times with me and a friend who has never played it before, and I just don't include most of the rules. I just slice away so much tech from Blades because that person's never played a role-playing game before. They just need the essentials. They jump in, they get the idea, right? You can still capture the idea without most of the stuff. Fear the bunny man for literally 2 years.
I will finish it one day.
Uh-huh.
It keeps switching systems. It keeps like getting like big notes in my head, and then I'll write down like 2 pages, and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this.
Right.
I'll come back to it in 6 months.
Keegan, what else are you like excited about these days? Are you reading anything? Is anything I mean, you just said that you're not reading the seminal text. So what
I'm
are
not
you
reading the
reading?
seminal text. Truly nothing. I just listen to a lot of podcasts.
Nice. I
I
I've I've been working my way through the last episode of the Call-In show because I wasn't able to watch it live because it was
mm,
when I teach. But so glad that Adam and Jeremy are back doing Call-In show stuff again.
yeah, it's exciting to see them. I didn't know they were coming back. I just got like a Twitch ping the other day. Like, what? It's been months.
Yeah.
Nice to hear them back, but
Yeah, I think they're doing this cool format where it's like every other week. One week they do just like a chill hangout, kind of like this, and then the next week is like the call-in show. They alternate back and forth, so that's
oh,
cool.
that has to be so much less stress than doing the actual college show every week.
Right.
Because that was just like a super heroic amount of work.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I have no interest in
because
doing anything like that.
no, the call-in show Discord's wild with like the waiting room and then like getting pulled into the call and then like getting kicked out, like having to stay muted, and it just seems like a headache to upkeep. More power to them, but it seems like a
Mm-hmm.
headache.
Hello,
Hello.
hello. Spunkius. I like that name. It's a fun name. Possibly somebody that I know by another name. Who knows? Twitch is like that. Well, is there anything else that you're like excited about or you're working on or anything like that? You said Dungeon Delvers. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited about Dungeon Delvers. We've been doing this thing with we have this post-dungeon fantasy group on Discord that is me, Jim Room Games, and Brandon Leon Gambetta. We're all working on what we're calling post-dungeon games, but they're like what if D&D style settings were modern.
Those are three very awesome sets of people slash designer groups right there.
Yeah, it's a really cool group. We're just like endlessly hyping each other's works. So I'm very excited about DDTV coming out, and they all share like a sort of cinematic universe.
Nice.
Um, yes, I'm up
Oh
top,
yeah,
I guess.
Kegan is above, I'm below. Gila is below.
Yeah, but it's been very fun. It's been very fun to share a sort of game universe with a bunch of people. Like we've decided that High Magic Low Lives, Radcrawl, and Dungeon Delvers TV are all in the same, like they're the same planet, they're the same world.
Nice.
And that's just been cool design work. It feels like working in a like much bigger pool, but not having to come up with a million things, but like it's all there if I want it.
That's
Oh yeah,
super cool.
also Carly Rae Jepsen's there. We've decided Boy Problems, the Carly Rae Jepsen RPG,
Nice.
is also in the universe, but I don't know if Colin knows that yet.
Expanded cinematic universes for role-playing games needs to be more of a thing. The
Hmm.
the because we've already talked earlier about our Lumen cinematic universe of sorts, or our Lumen universe.
Yeah, this is that idea just sort of expanded. Like,
Nice.
um, there's some talk about like moving people from one game to another game as the things they're doing sort of change. Because Radcrawl's very like dungeon sports, so it's a lot of like Blood Bowl style games. So if the players want to do sports, move into like Radcrawl. If we're just doing like dungeons, we're sort of moving into dungeondelvers.tv. If we're doing, if we're like breaking into rich people's houses to steal their god artifacts, we're moving into high magic low lives. But it lets we have very much designed the games at this point where like characters can move across games pretty easily. That's just been fun work.
That's super cool. I love that. I want more of that. I don't know how to make that happen, but I want more of that. Because here,
Yeah.
like I like playing campaigns and stuff like that, which I better like playing campaigns if I'm gonna run a Westmarches thing here in a little bit. But
Actually, I hate campaigns. I don't know why I'm doing
right, like I also just prefer to do like a bunch of different stuff. So like being able to jump from one game to the next sounds awesome to me. A Clover Cam has been redeemed.
Yep, yep.
She is camouflaged on that chair over there. I don't know if you can see her curled up in a little ball. She
Gina,
is.
come here.
Oh yeah,
Would you-
that's the
I'm just gonna use your
do it.
thing to show off my dog too. Here's Data. She, you want treat? I can definitely aim these two things at the same time. And she's gone.
Aww. If I tried to bring Clover over here, she just simply would not listen. She.
Yeah, I kept a bag of treats
It is like
next to me just to call her over.
it is like Clover camo. Like our whole apartment is just beige and tan and boring as fuck. So like
God, Jewel
nobody.
have so many shoes.
Oh, Kate's collection of shoes is a, it's a conversation starter, is what it is.
I believe that. I can't judge it. My shoes look a lot like that.
I've got
How
like
many pairs of boots can one person own?
I have like two pairs of shoes, and then Kate
Oh
has
God.
more than two.
I've I think 5 pairs of Doc Martens. It's a problem.
My brother collects sneakers, so like he's a sneakerhead, and then Kate
Hmm.
collects that.
So there's no getting away from it for me.
No, right? And they sit together and they talk about like their latest finds, and I'm just sitting here like, I don't know, have you read In Extremis? And then they look at me like I'm some sort of nerd.
God, I have so many RPGs and stuff down here. It's because the problem is my roommate really likes RPGs and board games. My husband really likes RPGs and board games, and I'm like, I like RPGs, but
Mm.
like, I have this bookshelf is full of them. That bookshelf's full of them. That bookshelf's full of them. That bookshelf's full of them. And then under the table, there's more. And then over there, there's another bookshelf that's full of them. And then there's two whole bookshelves upstairs that are also full of RPGs and board
That's
games.
amazing. I can't
It's too many. It's too many.
I can't wait to have more space to put my shit somewhere that isn't just in random boxes right now, which is what it is right now.
It becomes a problem when you're like, oh, well, we're out of space, so let's buy more shelving units to put more things on instead of just like downsizing somewhat.
Downsizing or not buying as much, because that's not an option.
Yeah, and the big problem is like my husband works at a board game and like RPG store. He works like
Uh,
a little indie store. So he gets like wild employee discount on everything.
that's
Because it's like
amazing.
locally owned. So it's just like we're not like really looking to profit off our employees here, which is great, but also it means like, well, this didn't really cost anything, so we might as well buy it.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I
Don't you
guess.
sell your stuff at at that store too, right? That's neat.
Yeah, but we do sell in extremis. They sold out of recently, but by in extremis there, which is cool.
Sweet. Well, Keegan, this has been a pretty fun coffee break. I'm out of
Yeah,
coffee,
this was great.
and
I still have coffee, but I drink very slow.
I drank that quickly because it tasted horrible, and I just needed to get it over with. It's the only coffee I had left here, so it's my least favorite, and I haven't replaced my coffee, so I just drank the bad stuff.
My husband has like a big coffee grinder and stuff that I'm just terrified of, so just concentrate over here.
My friend Mike, who works, he's like does the art
It's
for,
Slayers. Yeah.
yeah, he used to work for a local roastery here in Chicago, and he was a graphic designer for them, and so he was just my constant coffee hookup. Like every week, he would just be like, "Here's 5 more pounds of whatever bean that you want this week," and it's just like I'll never get through it, but I had just pantries full of coffee beans and all the different gizmos and everything like that. But he doesn't work there anymore, so now I have to actually get my coffee like a real person, which sucks.
Oh no, that's too much. Coffee people just really seem to like doing a lot of work, is what my
Yeah.
like. I can't imagine making coffee for like 2 hours to eight. I'm sorry, you said eight
Eight
hours for iced
hours for
coffee.
my Kyoto drip, I'll have you know.
Yeah, like I'll put food in a crock pot. That's like as close to 8 hours of cooking as I'm doing. So, like, it's not like active work
Right.
to drip coffee. It just feels like it to me.
Mike works for a cannabis company now and
Mm.
doesn't have the same hookup, which I was really disappointed. I was assuming I'd get the same
I was
sort of
like,
hookup
what
as
a good
before.
hookup, but
It is
no.
they take
Damn.
that shit very seriously. Uh, so
Yeah.
bummer.
That feels right. Damn.
I know.
Come on, Mike.
Oh well. Well, Keegan, this was a blast.
Yeah, this has been great.
Why don't you, for folks who are watching, shout out your stuff so that we can put like some, I'll put some links out on the in the chat for folks, and yeah, tell people what you are, who you are, what you're up to.
Yeah, I have and will continue to be Kegan EXE. You can still find me at keganexe.com or at KeganEXE, basically anywhere online. And I have DungeonDelvers.tv, my post-dungeon fantasy role-playing game coming out on the 14th. It might just be for pre-orders on the 14th, but it's coming out in some form on the 14th.
Wow, 1 week, 1 week,
Yeah, no stress.
no stress whatsoever.
None. Yeah, and then I'm streaming Dungeon Delvers TV on the 14th at the plus one EXP Discord Twitch. And then we're streaming it again on the 20th for TPK's The Top Shelf season finale. And yeah, that's it for me, I think.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Speaking of streams on the 14th, Coffee Break is something that I'm going to try and do every Sunday. So next Sunday, the 14th, I'm sitting down with Dan Phipps, who is here in chat right now. Dan and I are going to
In
talk
clips of the Gym Room Games
of
Discord.
Gen Room. Exactly. No idea what Dan and I are going to talk about. I think Dan sent me something about video games. Who knows? We'll talk. We'll figure it out when we talk, but it'll be very
Yeah,
fun.
so
And then I think after that, I'm talking with Riley, which is very exciting because I've been using Riley's markout tech for a game that I started brainstorming last night. So that's me in terms of my stuff. Otherwise, find me on Twitter. I don't have time to promote stuff. We'll
this is the
my
only week I'm promoting.
right. My stuff is out there.
Normally I'm like, just don't find me. We're good.
Right. What is a video game? That's what Dan Phipps and I will spend an hour trying to figure out. What is a video
Oh,
game?
we've had this discussion. It's a question.
Oh God. Wait, no, I don't want to do this. I'm canceling coffee break. All right. Well, thanks
Sorry,
so much.
Dan.
Thanks so much, Keegan. Thanks to everybody who watched. This was a blast. I had a great time. What a great way to start the Sunday. Hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever it is you are, and we'll talk to you all later. Bye.
Bye.